So morning, day 31. I am still in Novi Sad. I've just had the most incredible afternoon, night, morning of being looked after by a lady called Mira, who is she's the grandma of a friend of my son's at school, and she's just been absolutely wonderful. Made me beautiful food, lovely breakfast just now, and just basically just has renewed me. She basically flipped me around from being quite destroyed yesterday and the day before. Now I'm nice and refreshed and ready to go again today, and I feel renewed in spirit and in body. And we've got about a 25-miler to go today. We are going to go from here, Novi Sad, to Backa Palanka, and yeah, hopefully it'll be sort of slightly along the river. I don't know. I'm hoping it's not too much main roads like it was yesterday, because that was a bit grubby towards the end. Yeah, the journey continues. I feel pretty strong. I've got resupply fully in the pack now, so the pack is a bit heavier, but I've got lots of good food, 33 fuel. I've got loads of precision hydration fuel. I've got some Forte protein powders. I've got my super greens and my amino acids. So now I've got some of the foundations again of the good nutrition. That should really help. And yeah, hopefully it's not going to get too hot. It already feels quite warm, but 31, it says on the phone that's going to be the max temperature. So if I get moving now, hopefully I'll have most of it done before we get into some of the proper melty. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Got clean clothes on as well. She washed all my gear and I smell good for at least 20 minutes. So that is a happy thing. But yeah, I better get moving. So another day done, 31 days in total, a month of running on average a marathon a day for a whole month. Feels quite incredible. Doesn't really feel like I've done it. When you look at that map stretching across sort of Europe as well, it's quite a surreal feeling to know that you've sort of done 800 plus miles in that kind of time. Today's run was one of the better ones, really. I mean, leaving Novi Sad with the dedicated running track that they had, that was about 2.5 kilometers or whatever. Lots of people out running this morning as well, which I've not seen this whole trip. There's barely been anyone running at all. I mean, I've literally not seen less than 5 runners the whole time. So this morning was quite nice to be in that mix, although I was the only one wearing a backpack looking like crazy. And then basically we went up onto sort of dusty dyke roads to begin with. You know, these roads, they sort of shoulder along the river and they sort of bend around. They're close to the river. And then eventually that changed into a really nice paved set of dyke roads, which were amazing. You're quite a long way from the back of the houses, but you're very close to the river. The river sort of breaks through the forests every now and again. And this was kind of perfect running. It's flat as a pancake and just a really good surface to run on. And it was great. You're up there pretty much on your own. It's the first time I've sort of seen some other people out kind of cycling and just kind of, I guess, just doing exercise. There was quite a few sort of older people who were doing up and down on their bikes, just getting out for their sort of morning ride. A couple of other people a bit more serious, with more serious kit, and then lots of time just on your own. It was a really, really good run. It's a bit exposed. There's a lot of kind of, there's no shadow, there's no shade, so you kind of get exposed a little bit to the sun. It wasn't crazy hot today. I think it was like between 26 and 31 degrees, so it was a bit more manageable than it has been. And the only other problem with these dyke roads is that they're set sort of back, so they're out of the town, so there's not much access to water. So at one point I had to do a deviation of about 2 kilometres into a town just to restock with the water. But that was good. I took some time outside of one of the shops that I sat. There was one old guy shaking an apple tree, and there was an old lady there who was then collecting up all the apples, and I think they would use them to make rakia. They do, because I spoke to them, and I went and helped them all sort of collect up all these sort of 250 odd apples or whatever there were on the floor, put them in the buckets and that. And then the lady went into the shop and bought me a bar of chocolate to say thank you, which I wasn't expecting. But yeah, it was a nice kind of breather for me and to do something different. And I was chatting to them about what they were making, so that was nice. And then yeah, everything was pretty good really until the last kind of 4 miles, where I just felt a twinge in the tendon that runs down from the shin into the foot of my right foot, and it got a bit sore, so I had to ease back. I tried to sort of manage it. I walked the last 2 miles and it's still sore now, and that's a bit of a worry because that's an overuse injury, and it's one I've had on my list of feared injuries or feared niggles that they don't often tend to get better. And it's a bit of a worry. I think basically because I've had the resupply of fuel, my pack was slightly heavier today, and I may have run a little bit too hard or with a little bit too much pressure on the legs, and it's caused a little bit of a problem. But overall, I feel a bit fatigued as well now. It's not surprising considering what I've been doing, but I think I'm still paying back for that day in the 41 degree heat, and I'm still feeling pretty tired. I need to get some good rest tonight. And I think as I was sort of saying, it's weird. I feel like now where I'm at in terms of this sort of long journey is a bit like a mile 13 to mile 20 of the marathon, where it's just about digging in now. The novelty is worn off, that the start line excitement in the first 6 miles of the marathon where you sort of often run too fast is definitely worn off. And now I'm in the meat and drink of this particular challenge. And so there's a kind of mundanity that's kind of arrived now to a certain extent. It kind of feels a little bit like my job to get up and go and run every day a little bit. So I need to just dial back in and connect with what, the things that I'm grateful for about why I'm doing this, and be enjoying it and enjoying the process. I think it's just the tiredness of sort of taking it over the edge to feeling like, wow, have I got to get up and go and do it again? I haven't really had that too much on this run. Mainly I've been up, and there's been other things that have made me fearful of going out, but I haven't really feared the running or struggled with the running part of it in that way. And this is kind of the first bit where I'm feeling like, more running. But like all these things, I'm sure that's going to pass, and we just got to roll through it. Just head down, process, just keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully we'll move through it. But yeah, the other thing is in the early stages of this, there was quite a lot of, I thought, new thoughts coming into my head, new things, new ideas, new perceptives, new perspectives is the word I'm reaching for on things, clever ideas or just interesting thoughts. And now they're repeating quite a lot, having the same thoughts day in, day out. So there's that's not really helping. There's a blurring of it, or a repetition, or I don't really know how to describe it. It's it feels like there's not so much new emerging, and that's despite the fact that the countryside and the surroundings are changing. I think a lot of the mental or the inner monologue or whatever that's going on is pretty much the same. But anyway, I'm now tomorrow going to be going from Backa Palanka up to Vukovar. So we go from Serbia into Croatia tomorrow for a day, and we'll come back into Serbia. And we're nearly done with Serbia. We've got 4 or 5 days left, and then we'll be finished with Serbia. I think I'm going to be sad to leave. It's been wonderful being here, but also excited to go on and see what comes in the next country and go and see what happens with Hungary. So yeah, need some good rest tonight. Need to pray for that tendon, that it sort of eases off overnight and that I can run tomorrow without it getting worse, basically. That's, touch wood, that's what I needed to happen. But yeah, from a tired runner, but a fairly sort of happy runner, that's my update for today, and I will see you guys all again tomorrow.